So let me show you something else here
Yeah,
with,
absolutely.
why don't you, someplace here on a new line, I guess, just say, just say CO. Okay, and this is the new IntelliSense, okay?
Ooh.
Now, you're right now going to constant
Mm-hmm.
instead of console, which we want to go to console, so you're going to have to, but before you do anything else, okay?
Sit on my hands.
Sit on your hands for just a second. Okay, so instead of doing what we've always done, which is to keep typing until we have what we need, at the bottom now, we have a way to filter this. That's what those funny little icons are.
Interesting.
Overall, this is pretty. They have done a better job of bolding the things that you've already typed to help you understand why you got these entries. Okay, so constant is what it thinks right now. You have a little c. Okay, it's the best it's doing right now. If you hover over those icons, you're going to find that the fourth one over, is going to say classes, and it also comes up with a reasonable alternate C. So this is contextual. So instead of having to reach for your mouse, once you know this is coming, you can just hit alternate C.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, so now console is within sight. You can, of course, go down to it, or you could type a couple more characters.
I love it.
Okay, so now it's normal IntelliSense. You simply hit enter, and you've got the value.
That's fantastic.
Okay.
So I didn't have to take my hands off the keyboard for that.
You don't have to take your hands off the keyboard.
And anyone who knows me knows that that's like a huge plus with me.
Right, and so when they first did this and it was a little weak on the keyboard stuff, a lot of people gave them feedback that, you know, this is cool, but it has to be either a mouse only or keyboard only experience because nobody is going to efficiently move in the middle of an IntelliSense usage from one to the other. So if you bring it back up again with Control J, then you'll find that it's going to have forgotten what you just did, but if you hit alternate C and then alternate I think will give us something intelligent here. When we added interfaces, you can see that we did that there at the bottom.
Yes, it did. It highlighted the interface.
Exactly. So you would, if you had any interfaces, they would be showing up as well right now. So you can expand. I kind of wish there was one for types. There's not one right now. But then to the right side of the classes, there's a blue one, which is structures, and then there's a funny one, which is enums.
Very nice.
So you're able to just smoothly get right into those. And then now that you've got the class there, if you put the dot, you're going to get a new IntelliSense, which is it's contextual. And now instead of things like interfaces and classes, you have things like properties, methods, and events. And events has a V so that it is unique. So mostly these are predictable, but because E was already taken with an enum, they're using the V for event. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. This new IntelliSense is pretty hot. It tries to be a little smarter about where you're coming from. It still does both the first characters, and then what we got in 2015 is the word part IntelliSense. Turns out that human beings think a lot differently about those first characters. I am one of those people that it is not worth it for me to try to think of the first character only. If I had to think that hard, it's faster for me to just type 5 or 6 characters. Some people that's not true on. But with word part IntelliSense, because it takes just the first, not just one character, it can be 2 or 3 characters, I can just type 2 or 3 characters of everything. So, you know, if I'm looking at an invalid operation exception, I'm going to say INOPEX, and by then I've absolutely always got it. So it's a really cool feature there with that IntelliSense.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, IntelliSense again is one of my favorite features in Visual Studio. When that was first added, I thought it was genius, right? Because
it's great.
You're working against this huge library. There's no way you can remember all of it. You've got to have help, right? And there's, you know, it's right there in your code, and it's, you know, it's showing you the things that you're trying to create. But the way that you just talked about, like your invalid operation exception, I find myself actually thinking that way now. Like, I'm not thinking about the total exception name. I'm thinking about these 2 characters and the or even like if you use resharper, the shorthand for that, you know, that template or that pattern. Oh, I need an IEX here, and you know, no one knows what I'm talking about. But that's very interesting, and this is great. That the fact that they've put so much organization and sort of structure, I guess, or context maybe around the things that you need to find inside of this IntelliSense.
And I think they've done a lot with some, you know, with some little tweaking on this. When we got the great new breakpoint dialog in 2015, it didn't get that level of tweaking. It was kind of just barfed out, and I'm going like, God, this is ugly, dudes. But it does a job really well. I mean,
Yeah.
I really like it. It's like, oh, this is so ugly. We did do a couple of things, like how far apart the settings key was so that you didn't hit it all the time. But go ahead, let's go ahead and look at that really quick, because there's something not everybody knows is there. You can just Control L to get rid of this line.
Okay.
Okay, and then go to any line and just set a breakpoint.
Is it still? No, wait.
A little further into the margin. You just got a little carried away there.
I did. I'm
yeah,
so
let's go
sorry.
back to program and go out further to the left in the margin. Where are you now? Oh yeah, no, you closed main is what you did.
Oh, I did. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. So
just go way out to the left somewhere, and you can hit F9. Further, all the way into that gray.
Oh, really?
Yep, there it is.
I forgot.
Yeah. So one of the cool things that we actually got in 2015, but I want to show off because too many people don't know it's there, is if you click on that little gear icon, I always think it looks like a flower.
Yeah.
Click on that. Okay, now we get this pop-up. Hit condition. Okay, and then type anything you want over in true. You can just say true. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that's cool. Hit enter, so that's like there and it's set. Okay. Now go and click that so it goes away. You can hit close. Then click on the dot on line 17. Go ahead and click on the edge right there. Click on that. Goes away. Ah, darn! I got to do it again, right?
Yeah.
Do Control Z.
Uh-huh.
Is that cool?
That is awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, that is awesome.
A lot of people don't know that that's now in it's in the undo stack now. So
That's
that's
fantastic.
totally awesome.
So, and just to reiterate, like sometimes when you're in this screen and you're actually typing in the condition for the trace point, it gets really hairy.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And so that was like depressing when it would disappear.
I know. And before, when you'd have to go through all those dialogues to get there, and you'd be doing a trace point, you'd do all this stuff, and you'd be really sad. And it was so cool that they managed to figure out a way to make that work. So yeah.
That trace points are, again, do they still call
That's
them
the
trace
action.
points?
No, they don't, because after 15 years of nobody using trace points have been there since the beginning, and they're like nobody uses them almost. And people go in and they do debug dot write line instead of putting in a trace point.
Exactly.
And so they said, oh, we give up.
Yeah.
Let's call it something different. And so now it is just a type of condition that does an action. If you click on action in the dialog we just saw, then it's going to give you only the option of whether to continue or not and to print something to the screen. There's no other actions.
Oh, nice. So just to clarify, like if we do that,
and then you can
the
do an
actions.
action. And you might not have a condition. You can have one or not have one. And then this is something they actually worked on, and so I think they did a really good job on it in that dialog where it says, for example. They have two different kinds of examples there. One is that you can have some special pseudo-variables that can be inserted, and the other is that you can put any kind of your code in there under actions. So that little piece right there where you've got the function, so you can say $function will give you things like the thread ID.
Oh, nice.
And then if you want to put, that would be the name of the function. And then if you put in curly brackets, you put some value, like you could put term is something in scope right now. So then you can actually have something printed out.
Oh, that's nice.
Right, and you get IntelliSense.
Yeah,
you get IntelliSense with full filtering.
That's new to me too. Like in this particular, what I would call trace points, but in this
it is a trace point.
It is a trace point, but we're calling it something new.
Oh, we just don't know what to call it because really nobody used this feature for so long that they're like, okay, we need a reboot here.
I think super advanced breakpoint foo. So getting in there, but having IntelliSense in here is gold, right? Yeah. And I didn't even know that you could do these things. You could access the local stack, and that's amazing.
Yeah. So there's some cool stuff you can do there. Yeah. Okay, let's get rid of that.
Okay.
I want to show you something you're looking at, and you may or may not have noticed. Okay. Did you notice those vertical lines?
These yellow ones right here?
No, the ones over there.
Oh, over here?
You actually have the cursor on one.
Yeah, these yellow lines right here.
Not the yellow one. Go further to the right.
Oh,
too.
these. Oh, yeah. No, I didn't even see them.
All right.
I want to make those a little darker, Microsoft. So yeah,
they wanted them to be kind of subtle there. So position over the one that's the furthest right one.
Okay, so this one right here.
Yeah, position over that. You have to be a little bit go a little bit further down with the cursor. Takes a little bit to get there.
There we go.
Now it's a little small, I know, in the text there, but you know what namespace you're in, what class you're in, and what method you're in.
That's
okay.
Really
so
nice.
This is really cool.
So that opening bracket sort of forms the prologue code for that scope, and is that what it's showing me here?
Exactly. It's telling you what is the meaning of this particular scope. Now this is going to be particularly important for people that I know nobody's going to have ever written this code, but somebody else wrote that code, and you've got a method, and it's got 150 lines to it, and you're trying to make some sense of this thing, and you can go in there and you can see what those indentations are for.
That's awesome.
What's the scope on those, and you can start getting your head around what's happening there.
So I wrote that code.
You wrote that code too.
Long time ago.
Oh, a long time ago. Okay.
But does this work even, like, is it tied to the bracket? So like if you have like an if or a while?
Yeah,
fantastic.
we could show that, I guess. But,
yeah, so like
put something in there?
If I just put something really,
sure,
like
go
if
ahead.
true, and then we'll just do something silly like
you're going to have to close that, at some point.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now if you position over that part, it should tell you, you have to be a little lower because you have to be on the dotted line, not on the...
oh, there we go.
There we go.
Yep.
So you can see your if statement.
Nice.
And so it would list out that whole statement. Isn't that gorgeous?
That's great. So you know how I used to solve this problem?
How's
the
that?
curly bracket problem? I think it was control and the close bracket or the open bracket would let you bounce back and forth between them.
And it is the square bracket. It is the control, and then the square bracket bounces between them.
Yeah.
So that's an important keystroke for people. I know a lot of people don't know that one.
Absolutely,
so it's very, very helpful.
But that was gold for me. So I'm using it here. If you can,
I'll show you another trick if we can get your Control M to work. I don't know why it didn't work with MO, but randomly highlight any group of lines.
Okay.
Just randomly highlight some.
How about those? We don't need those.
Okay, great. Now try hitting Control MH, and I promise this should work, and it's not. Nope, your Control M is not working right now on your machine.
Yeah,
so we'll just let that go.
I think sidebar, it's probably, Camtasia's probably bound to it.
So what Control MH should do here, and we're having some sort of a little technical glitch on this, is it will collapse those. You can randomly collapse blocks of code. So if you're trying to look at two things together in your file, there's a couple of ways to do that. But one of them is to just highlight what you don't want to see right now and hit Control MH, and that'll make it go away. And then another Control MH will make it come back.
So that's fine. So it's not just tied to the. So normally, like any kind of block.
This is random.
This just be any line of code.
Does not have to match in any way whatsoever.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So you can just collapse things. You can do outline, and then you can do a hide.
Control M, Control H. Yep.
Yeah,
so hide selection.
Yep. So you can just randomly take code and make it go away. So yeah, and it acts just like it's sticky.
That's really nice.
So yeah,
that's
cool?
really sweet. Yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. That again, that's another one of those things where outlining when it first showed up, it was a little, and then you start using it and you're like, yeah,
I like this. I
this
like
is great.
this a lot. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I can definitely see how that would be a benefit.
One thing we haven't done yet, especially if you want to get rid of that if true stuff, which is kind of useless. Then we
your
haven't
code's
run.
useless, Kathleen.
No, you add it.
Yeah. So what do I do?
Just remove lines 11 through. Let's just remove that.
Right.
That's cool. Okay, and then you haven't run anything yet.
We have not.
You want to do that?
Sure.
Just for fun, why don't you get rid of all that garbage that we have on line 17, all those extra characters I had you put in there so I could show off that one feature. That would be cleaner, yeah. So can you put a breakpoint in there someplace, just a normal breakpoint, maybe on line...
Nope.
Let's put it a little higher. Let's put it on line 11. That'd be great.
You got it.
Now go ahead and hit F5 and let's see if this thing's going to run, see if we broke anything.